A striking woman leans against the cabin top of her sailing boat, smiling as you approach. Her green raincoat glistens with droplets. A silk scarf is tied around her throat.
Good afternoon, officers. I'm Joyce.
She extends her hand in greeting.
Joyce L. Messier. I represent the board of Wild Pines, the owners of the harbour. You gentlemen must be from the RCM.
She steps closer and holds out her hand over the railing.
I'm glad to see you here.
Her grip is tight and cold.
I was dispatched to handle a strike, not a lynching. Anything I can do to assist the RCM in this matter, I will, gladly.
That is good to hear, madame. My colleague will take the lead on this interview. I should let you know that he is recovering from an unusual medical episode. Very unusual. But I can assure you of his ultimate competency.
If I couldn't even assure myself of my ultimate competency.
How interesting. I wish you a swift recovery. In the meanwhile, you have my full cooperation, and the full cooperation of the Wild Pines group.
You're on a boat.
Why, yes I am.
She looks at the deck under her feet. Green and white sails flutter overhead. Do you have a license for this boat?
Officer, I assure you I'm a highly qualified pleasure craft operator.
The crowns of her teeth are porcelain, white as the boat's hull as she smiles. Her nonchalance might be related to something called the Wayfarer Act, a law that says she doesn't need a license. Sly fox, you're not aggressive enough to harass her further on this.
Does she have a name?
The boat? No. It is called Cordelati 19 because that's the type of sloop it is.
Okay, but what kind of boat is it?
It's a pleasure craft, a 19 pacer. It also happens to be rated for Category 1 racing. Though these days I mainly use it for business.
How'd you like it?
My sloop? I like it a lot. It's the eel's hips, baby.
I'm enjoying this part of the interview. It has so little to do with the murder we're investigating.
Calm down, Kim.
I really do, the lieutenant thinks. Is she thrown off yet? He's looking at the woman, assessing her.
Not a lot of people on boats, are there?
Of course there are. We're on an archipelago. How else are you supposed to get around?
Wait, we're on an archipelago?
Yes, we are. We are on Le Caillou.
Technically, the neighboring Ozone and Fas Alamer island groups are archipelagos, while La Caillou, by contrast, is a single fertile landmass, the fourth largest island in the world. It is not an archipelago.
Wait, I thought Le Caillou was one big island.
Okay, if you want to get technical. The point is, we're all on islands here, and sail is still the most expedient way to get from one island to another, especially when you're in a hurry to resolve a strike.
Still, I haven't seen anyone else sail a boat around here.
I haven't seen anyone else drive a souped-up Capri Kenema motor carriage either.
Actually, that motor carriage has been specially issued to serve as a patrol and pursuit vehicle. It's for crossing long distances in the greater Ravachol industrial harbor. It's not a toy.
Neither is this. A toy, I mean. It's a machine for crossing long distances in the Bay of Revachol, between the city and the islands.
You need to make this lady admit she's only riding around on this boat because she's rich.
Yes, I absolutely do.
You have the guns and the ammo. Take this Clausen fiend down.
Let's talk about the economics of this boat you're on.
Oh my, the E word. You mean to say that it's a symbol of conspicuous consumption? That I'm a member of the ruling class?
Yes, exactly.
Detective, may I remind you that Mrs. Messier is a professional negotiator.
He doesn't look like he thinks you're bester in single combat.
Then what does that say? Does it say docking reserved for residents of Rue de Saint-Ghislain, 33A? 33A? This old proletarian haunt here? As I said, plenty of people drive boats, of all social strata.
Fire back, quick.
She takes a sip.
It's gonna happen.
Okay,
Something is about to happen. In here.
of course.
Nothing happens for quite a while.
Breakthrough is imminent. I still don't get this at all. Breakthrough imminent. Okay, whatever. They will come from my head, the arguments,
As they do.
The thoughts happen inside his brain.
the lieutenant explains. Wave your hand next to your head. It'll help.
It doesn't.
Keep waving your hand, slowly.
My, it's as if there's a tiny spinner on the side of his head and he's reeling thoughts out.
Except he isn't.
Keep doing it.
Lieutenant, I truly don't understand what is happening here.
I told you his methods are unconventional.
What were you talking about anyway?
It was quite a while ago, but I think, yes, we were discussing my fast, large, ineluctably middle-class boat.
I think I have a handle on the boat thing.
Good.
She takes a sip of her thermal cup. Tell me about Wild Pines. What do you do?
What we do. I'm afraid I don't speak for Wild Pines as a whole. It's a giant undertaking.
There was a touch of discomfort there. She wants to merely represent.
So what do they do?
The Pines' core competency is logistics. Container shipping, freight, that sort of thing. See those airships there, blinking? Those are the shipping side of things. And that is the terminal. Another subdivision deals with energy, oil and gas exploration, offshore platforms.
The Wild Pines Group is one of the original Revacholian Indo-tribes. Companies awarded royal monopolies by the king, the suzerain himself, centuries ago. The king is long gone, but several of the Indo-tribes remain.
Who are the other Indo tribes?
Son Baptiste, Elysium, an unknown entity known as Brightest Star.
You're in good company, it seems.
Why, thank you.
She does not register the real meaning of the remark. How much money does Wild Pines have?
I'm not at liberty to discuss the company balance sheet, but I can tell you that last year, the company booked more than 20 billion real in revenue.
The money I own is so much less than that.
Yes, past a certain point, numbers begin to seem imaginary, but they are quite real for the 72,000 employees who depend on Wild Pines for their paychecks. A conglomerate the size of Wild Pines is like a shark. If it stops moving and growing, it will die. Then what becomes of those 72,000 families? It is a tremendous responsibility.
Where does Wild Pines get all these billions?
They started as an exploration and cargo fleet conducting trade between the Samarran and Insulindian Isolas 250 years ago, when Pine ships explored the South Seminese and charted Lomantang on behalf of the suzerain. Centuries of care, deliberation, and madness have gone into this endeavor. Vessels pass through the great unrest to re-emerge with apricots in tow. The logic of the system is totalizing. It's taken everything from its employees to build it.
It probably helps to start out with a royal monopoly.
You know more than you let on. Certainly it helped, but most of the original Indo tribes have failed or been absorbed. To survive, Wild Pines had to grow and adapt. No suzerain did that.
What does such a huge system want with a place like this?
You mean aside from being the terminal's legal owners, who are responsible for moving 8% of the world's cargo?
You don't keep moving, the workers do. The company's nothing without them,
We built this district.
she says calmly.
We. There it is. She owns up to it.
All the best parts of it. Rue de Saint-Ghislain, with its bastions, the plazas Meteor and Mosaic. Even some of the old street lamps have been put back thanks to the investments from the WP.
She points behind you where the seawall rises.
Before Martinez was swallowed by the industrial harbour, even before it was part of Revachol, long before Terminal B was erected here, the Pines built it as a resort for its Revacholian employees. A company getaway, for a weekend or a summer holiday. Then came the revolution. But that's another matter. I'm here to make sure the Pines can fulfill their responsibilities to the place they built.
With your help, hopefully, says her warm tone.
What can you tell me about this strike?
Everything. Right up to, but not including, trade secrets.
Wait, what if I want to hear about trade secrets?
First, you'd have to repeal the Emergencies Act of Trade in Aliments. That gives me the right to silence. It's quite the octopus.
How do I repeal it then?
Why? By throwing off half a century of foreign domination under the Coalition. Unfortunately for you, the Coalition also leases you the right to police West Revachol.
Well,
You'd be shooting yourself in the foot, in other words.
yep.
But I am derailing us. You wanted to know about the strike.
What is your role in this precisely?
I believe the official title is Senior Labour Negotiator. In practice, I'm a grocery clerk. I relay the union's demands to Wild Pines and return with Wild Pines' counteroffer.
And how are the talks going?
They're not. That's the problem. The union stopped all negotiations a week ago, after that awful lynching took place. Now they won't even let me into the harbour. There's a 2-meter 20 racist behemoth blocking the gates.
Tell us more about this behemoth.
What can I say? The union employs a giant covered in tattoos. A racist giant. I guess that's part of their big tent organisation now.
How were the talks going before the lynching?
Let's say I was not making the kind of progress I'd hoped for when I first arrived.
And when did you first arrive?
I arrived 3 weeks ago. Yes, in the middle of February. The bay was still partially frozen then. I prefer to do these things on site, like the RCM.
But the strike began in December.
He looks at his notes.
I wasn't the original negotiator here. I took over after Mr. Gaumont hit a wall with Mr. Clare, the union boss. Mr. Clare refused to speak with Gaumont despite concessions he'd granted the union in prior negotiations.
This isn't the first time the union has gone on strike.
Heavens no. There have been 2 prior strikes. Both times the union won significant concessions, including overtime pay and a medical plan. This time their demands are more, I guess you could say, aggressive.
Ludicrous, even. It's meant.
What are their demands?
There are leaflets everywhere, and banners. What did they say again? Oh yes. Every worker, a member of the board.
Most of the workers probably don't know what that means.
Seems like they've no idea about business.
In its defense, another said, demand democracy. Pretty tame stuff compared to every worker, a member of the board.
Most of them probably don't know what that means.
Fortunately, they explained it. Every time the Wild Pines group makes a decision about anything, it needs the signature of each of the 2,200 workers in its Martinez terminal.
Yep, that is absolutely ludicrous.
Just so you understand, this is but one of 22 terminals owned by Wild Pines. Essentially, not only are they kings of the company, they are also kings of the 72,000 employees of Wild Pines Group.
What are you going to do?
I'm not sure. Naturally, I assume that was just their opening position, a hard-nosed tactic with a side of mockery. But there's been no follow-up, just the same nonsensical slogan repeated over and over again. And now, people are getting lynched, I hear. Behind the whirling in rags. A disastrous situation if there ever was one.
Excuse me, from whom did you hear about this lynching?
I first heard it from the bowyer at the gates. The one whose very name advertises his aversion to work. I think he said it was, "Call me mañana."
This checks out.
What happened to this Gormont?
Mr. Clare told him to... How did he put it?
She pauses to compose herself.
Fuck off, midget. Gaumont is short of stature, you see.
Okay then.
Yes. Keep in mind, this is a negotiator Mr. Clare has worked with before, and who was more than fair with him and the union.
The scabs at the gate. Did you put them there?
The scabs? You mean the huddled masses of Jamrog, come to plead for work where the union refuses to? If they were organized by Wild Pines or its affiliates, then it would be a company secret. I could not share it with you. Not right now, at least.
It's implied. She's open to discussing this matter with you at a later occasion.
Tell me about this union boss, Mr. Clare.
Everard Clare is a man of the utmost integrity. If you can say one thing about him, It's that he always puts the interests of the workers first.
Really?
Of course not. Everard is fantastically corrupt. I imagine he has a thick, viscous goo where you and I have blood. He is the most corrupt individual I have ever seen, and I deal with men like him for a living. If there is anyone more venal, more irredeemably nepotistic, then it's his twin brother, Edgar.
Wait, there are two of them?
Yes, Edgar looks exactly like his brother, except for that lazy eye. He also talks exactly like Everard does, and when one's term as foreman is up, the other takes over. It's how they circumvent the term limits, you see, with a funny little switcheroo. While in office, they've embezzled God knows how much of their workers' dues.
What about the union itself, outside the Brothers Clare?
The Débardeurs Union was once a perfectly normal institution. 20 years ago, anyway. It must not have been easy to establish under the Emergency Act, but they did it. I can respect that. Organised labour at its best, as they say. Then something happened in the local chapter elections. The Brothers Clare came and transformed it into a... how do you say?
She hesitates, looking for the right expression.
A mob. The Débardeurs are a crime syndicate. Sad as it may be, I suspect we'll be forced to cooperate with them.
Refreshingly honest, officer. The company has tried appeasing in the past, but I'm afraid our concessions have only emboldened Everard and his brother.
She turns to you.
And your opinion, detective, if I may ask? I'm a curious and talkative person, you see. Would you say the Débardeurs Union is...
A giant leech sucking the life out of Revachol.
Indeed, and a hungry one. Sadly, Wild Pines have cooperated with what amounts to a crime syndicate for 2 decades. However much you feed the leech always hungers.
One more thing, you said something happened in the elections?
I'm glad you asked. There was a woman, the previous forewoman of the union. She disappeared.
Disappeared?
Yes. On the last day of the local chapter elections, her daughter phoned in and said she wasn't running anymore, or coming to work. Ever. End of story.
Some kind of extortion, probably.
Indeed. The company suspects foul play, but there's nothing they could do. It was a union matter. The point of the presentation is, these kinds of things happen around the Clares. Watch out when you're dealing with him.
Thank you for your concern, ma'am. We'll be just fine.
That's all I need here. Let's change the topic.
Of course. How else can I help?
What can you tell me about this lynching?
Quite a few things, I'm afraid.
She falls silent for a moment, contemplating something.
The information I'm to share with you includes sensitive trade secrets. For the sake of my employer, I have to ask for your names and badge numbers.
Of course, ma'am. We should have introduced ourselves. I am Lieutenant Kitsuragi from Precinct 57.
So about that badge.
And this is my colleague from Precinct 41. I'm afraid he doesn't have his badge at the moment. I hope mine will suffice.
How curious. Why is that, detective?
Remember when my partner told you I'd recently suffered from an unusual medical episode? My lost badge is related to it.
I see. So, are you saying you lost your badge during the course of this episode?
Yes.
I can't hear you, darling. Speak up, please.
I could have eaten it for all I know. I don't remember anything. This world, this city, nothing.
Oh dear. I suppose this does explain some of the more curious turns in our conversation.
You mean the boat thing? No, that has nothing to do with it.
She must have been suspecting something for a while now.
As I said, ma'am, his technique may be very unconventional, but he is an officer of the RCM.
Of course, I sympathize. But I'm afraid I simply can't share anything more until I've seen that badge.
She's a professional negotiator. She should be open to some sort of mutually beneficial arrangement.
58% is not something I want to do right now. I'll find this somehow. Let's talk about something else until I do.
Of course. But before we do, officers, let me be perfectly clear. The situation is extremely volatile. The sooner we can speak about this lynching business, the better for all of us.
You seem smart. I need someone to give me a lowdown on this reality we're in.
This reality?
She pulls her hood closer around her neck.
Yes, Reality is your side case.
Yeah, there was that talk in the task about how I should speak to someone rich. Well, I found the rich person.
An experimental side case.
It's related to that medical episode. I have trouble remembering even the most basic terms of reality.
Ah, yes. The episode. Sounds like an acute case of encephalopathy, now that I think of it.
She puts down her thermal cup and looks at you.
Don't be phased, madame. He functions perfectly well. He only needs a lowdown on all of reality.
We may be here a while then. Ask away, officer. I'll help however I can.
All right, we're in. I know these all look good, but begin with the first, okay?
Okay. Where are we?
We're in Martinez, baby.
Baby?
A casual term of endearment popular among the 50-plus crowd. It's a disco holdover, pay it no heed.
I'm a disco holdover myself.
Aren't we all?
She refers to your corresponding ages.
And what is Martinez?
Martinez is a district of Revachol. A very small district tucked away near the industrial harbour, north of the 881 and Jamrock. You would be excused for not knowing about it. Unimportant, they say. Forgotten, even. Shelled to smithereens during the Revolution. It has its charms, just not this time of year.
Tell me more about Martinez.
I'm not a good ambassador. I've only been here once before, as a teenager. Not a lot has changed. There are ruins, a terminal, fishing boats, reeds, boys with boxy shoulders. As I told you, Martinez used to be a province, a workers' resort before the city swallowed it and the artillery did its part. Now the reeds are the real star of the show here. The further down the coast, the wilder it gets.
You mentioned a sea. What sea is this?
It's not really a sea, it's the Bay of Revachol. And the bay feeds into the ocean.
Are we near the ocean?
Yes. We're on an island in an ocean, the world's largest body of water, the Insulindic.
Known to the early Revacholians as Les Immensités Bleues, the blue immensities. Vast, lukewarm and unknowable, flowing in and out of sight.
What's the name of this island?
Caillou, as you already know. Imagine a pebble. A smoothed-over pebble amidst a great blue sea, misshapen, cracked. The cracks are the river Esperance. We're in the delta of this river, on the 6th branch, the Martinez distributary.
It is clear this pebble is of enormous value to her, and to humanity at large.
Okay, that's Martinez. What's Revachol?
Revachol? Revachol is what you call a city.
What kind of city is Revachol?
The great kind.
As if it's self-explanatory, beyond patriotism, a fact.
What makes Revachol great?
History detective. They built this city to resolve history. Our part in it, at least. Our centuries.
Okay, who built this city?
The nations of the Occident, or migrant workers from Seminine and Ile-Marat, depending on your creed.
When?
In the DeLorean century. 380 years ago.
And why will it resolve history?
They say it's where the terrible questions of our time will be answered. The tensions are highest, the fault lines deepest. By that I mean conflicts. Ideological conflicts. The stuff of men.
Why here?
We are standing on a fertile, self-sufficient island able to sustain up to 200 million people in the middle of the Insulindic Ocean, the world's connective tissue. It's where the money is.
So we're in an unimportant part of an important place.
I think it's fair to say so. Martinez is about
She points across the water where the skyscrapers rise.
22 kilometers from the center of the world. That soldering iron is the bank of the world building. The bottom floors are Insiacom. Coalition government, Insulindian Mission Command.
Look to the sea.
Silence. She lowers her hand. The water, The light. It's as though you're seeing it for the first time. There is no recognition, only the immensity of the sea and the cold radiating from it.
I don't know any of this.
We are where we are. I have no truer answer to give, unfortunately.
She watches you closely as you scan the horizon. Got this as well. This has a research time. Ah, I see. I get it. Right now we're researching this.
This is one thought you need to complete. Where are you?
Was there something else you wanted to know? I remember something about a lowdown.
This has been informative. Thank you, ma'am. I'm sure my memory-impaired partner has many more questions to ask, about even more fundamental aspects of reality. Might I suggest not asking them all right now? Ma'am, Messier will be here later too, and tomorrow. Isn't that true, ma'am?
Absolutely. My commitment here is long-term.
But won't I be lazy if I don't do it all now?
Oh, of course not. You are already diligent for getting this far, and diligent boys remember where they left off.
Indeed. I'm always at your service.
But I want... Okay, you know what? Sure.
Glad to have been of assistance.
We'll continue
Little
that
that
later.
I know. Anything else?
You seem rich. Can I have some money?
Is what you want to say, but it isn't that easy, is it?
Well, why not?
Look at that lady. Take a gander. Squint your eyes, bub.
What nice fabrics.
Why, yes. Tucked away under that sturdy green raincoat, almost rustic in its simplicity, a silk shirt and matching scarf around her gentle throat, while dull orange pearls hang from her earlobes, red from the cold. Her light green eyes scan you, full of knowledge and worry, wealth and all its possibilities. These are the kind eyes of the rich man that seem to say everything is possible, within reason.
Yeah, so?
Now look at you, you misery-clad simian, barely able to tie your own laces. Your armpits are lakes. A scythe of booze precedes you. Your hair sticks to your forehead, and your underwear feels uncomfortable. You're poor as balls. You can't ask this person for money. You're too...
I'm a goddamn working man. I'm not ashamed to shake this leech for some dough.
You think your little communism protects you from this feeling? No. The more demeaning it is to grovel at her feet.
As I was saying, if there's any way I may be of assistance, please don't hesitate to ask.
Heard of billions. Can I have some money?
I am sorry. It just doesn't come out of your mouth. What does is surprisingly eloquent, really. The last one, not the first three. Those are ape speak.
Money.
Excuse me? I didn't hear you. Did you say money?
No, I didn't. Let's talk about something else.
Of course.
Thank you, that's all for now.
Of course, Detective. Take care.
Wow, you work hard.
I do.
Oh, yes. You hustle. You're a provider. It's tough out there, but you keep it real and provide.
I guess I do, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Like a horse. A workhorse. For hard work.
What hard work do I do exactly?
Look at yourself. You're a human pedometer. You must have walked 200,000 steps down cracked asphalt, mosaic, sand, and linoleum after you re-emerged. That is the sign of a hustler who never gives up. The world is harsh and people are evil. You didn't make it that way, and you won't let it break you. You ride.
Yeah, I ride. A little.
A little. You make money. You got gills, baby. Got those black papers with the faces of the innocents on them. You bring in the Franco Negros and the Solas. It ain't easy, but you do it. Day in and day out. You didn't make the rules, but you won't lose. You're a cop, and a sprinter, and a money printer.
I guess I've made some gills, sure.
Sure. And has it been easy? Is life easy? Have you not gone into cardiac arrest? Are you not about to have an anxiety attack or shoot yourself in the mouth? But you still hustle 24/7, ride or die. Now, ask yourself, are you rich?
No, I'm actually not.
That's right. You work harder than anyone. You almost rode yourself to the grave, and you're still practically a hobo. Why is that?
I don't know. Why am I so poor?
Because of the taxes. G-Man's got his jam-covered sticky fingers in your pocket, stealing from you every time you buy, sell, walk, talk, fart, so much as sneeze. Aren't taxes almost non-existent in the Gotham estate that is Revachol?
I thought there were no taxes.
You and I both, but they got those indirect modes of taxation. Sales tax, excise duty, extraction tax. This tax that doesn't even have a name. Plus, there's the stuff people in other countries pay for that makes them ask for more money from you here. The Gotham estate's a myth. In total, the coalition government is taking 98% of all your money.
Are you sure? That seems like a pretty big number.
What are you not sure about? They're milking your nipples till they bleed. Can't you see? Aren't you sick and tired of having bloody nipples?
This isn't helping me solve my money problem. It's only making me into a free market type.
What are you, a racist? Don't be a racist. Be a cool immigrant, ultra-liberal free market advocate. Ride or die. Keep it street.
No thanks.
This guy's appropriating the emerging Boogie Street lingo as part of his sales pitch for the free market economy.
You're trying to sound like a Boogie Street youth to peddle me this stuff, aren't you?
Yeah, ain't it cool, Ryder? Ain't it street?
It's not.
Hey,
Who, me?
yes, you. Word on the street is you're ready to start building communism again.
Again?
Yes, you're ready to start building communism again. You've built it before. They've built it before. Hasn't really worked out yet. But neither has love. Should we just stop building love, too?
I can't argue with that.
So, what about all that communism you've promised to build? Word on the street is you've woken up from 1,000 years of slumber, promising to erect a version of communism many times greater than any attempted before. Is that true?
How come there's word on the street?
You keep saying things like, down with the bourgeoisie, eat the rich, sodomize the landowners, impale all people who have more than 25 real in their pocket, literally murder all human beings regardless of their political beliefs. That kind of stuff.
I haven't said anything like that.
Okay, not in so many words, but don't deny it. You're about to rip off that mask of social democracy and reveal the monstrous seven-eyed lamb of global communism that will devour and masticate mankind. Everyone can see that. So tell me, do you have any questions before we fire up the big communism builder? Or do we get right down to it?
It's too tiring. I don't have it in me. I'm beat down and broken.
Very well. I guess no one will build communism then. Tell the working man it's over, unless anyone has objections. No objections. It's mathematically impossible to achieve a classless society. Everyone knows this. Anyone? Anyone else? There's no one? There's no one. Okay then, lie down and let the water carry you downstream.
Goodbye, communism.
Lonesome, long way home.
Thought complete.
Here we go. Home awaits. Walk past Station 41 and through the market, past the Boogie Street spearhead to the other side of the lake, the frozen eye at the center of the district. Then past the video rental store on the corner. There, At the end of a street lined with pine trees, a small house no larger than a matchbox. 11 Voyager Road. You no longer live there. Those times are gone. And so are those people. Why did you come here? Why are you still here? And where's the dealer? You have to get back to work. That's all you have now.
The learning cap for perception raised to 5 and speed gives 1 psyche. Okay. Huh, interesting. Well, let's go for the next one then. Jamais vu. Derealization. Sure. Anything new here? We've got a orange bum hat. Reaction speed +1, rhetoric -1. That doesn't really sound like something I'd want. But why is it orange? I don't know. Well, give me a quick break here. I'll be right back.